What's going on, YouTube? It's Barrymore with another match at our locals tournament. Today we have Ulforce, which I'm piloting on the left, against Xros or Crossheart, however you want to say it, on the right. This is round 3. So we start, I go straight into a VMon. I did win the dice roll. And then I play a Davis because I don't have a level 4 and I still don't get one. So I do get the VMon Searcher at least, which for next turn, if I need to, I can just play it out to search for a level 4 in case I don't draw it from passing over my turn. On him, he goes into a Starmons over the Pigmon, plays a Taiki and reveals the top 4, revealing a Star Sword, a Samadhi Santi, Cutemon, and an X7. He decides to get the X7 and then puts the Star Sword underneath the Taiki. Now the X7 is going to give me trouble later on if he gets the perfect stack. So I have to play around it because that'll be a free deletion off of him on my board. Goes into the X3 and raising to digivolve over the Starmons. Over to me. I end up raising out the VMon. I think about swinging, but not. I did choose not to, even though I should have. Because I don't have anything to digivolve over him, but I just play the Sora Mat, passing him to 1. He swings with the X3, gets to draw 2 from the Pigmon and 1 from the Pigmon, 1 from the Starmon. Hits a Leomon, so that's a free check for him. And then he just plays the Akari, and he does have the Darulamon, minus 3k in my VMon, and this is why I said I should have swung, because that's just a free deletion for him. Puts me to 2, but I go to 3 because it's a Davis. And then he starts counting his cards because if he has 8 cards or more, I get a memory. And if I have 8 cards or more, I get a memory at the beginning of my main phase. Unfortunately, I only have about 6 because I have not drawing much. But I do find the level 4, which I go over it on top of the VMon that I digivolved in raising. And then I choke him to 1 by going into an Arrow Vidramon. Back to him, he unsuspends, hatches another Pigmon, digivolves into a Starmon in raising, and then here come the free swings. Swings with X3. VMon lives again, so another free check. The Darulamon not so lucky though. That man goes down. But he does go underneath Akari, so for them it doesn't really matter for that kind of deck because they just want to swing. All their stuff gets saved anyways, and they just hard play everything to reduce the play cost. So it's basically the X3 has gotten 2 free checks, and and he's still on board. So that's trouble for me. Back to my turn. He counts his hand. He still has 8. I still don't have more than 8, so I only get 4 as soon as I raise my Arrow Vidramon. Unfortunately, I don't have the Ulforce, which is bad news for me. So I just go ahead and drop the VMon. Find the Arrow Vidramon and an Arena, which does me no good right here. But I do swing over the X3, that way he doesn't continue swinging with it. And keep getting free checks off of it. And the only play I can do here is to drop Arena. It gives me 2 back because of the Vidramon and the VMon inheritable on the bottom of the Arrow Vidramon. And it does at least give me blocker, evade on my VMon, which does come up here in a few minutes. And I go ahead and digivolve into the Vidramon, just so he can't drop another Darulamon to 3k my VMon and delete it. Raises the Starmons, and he does hit a tie. It's good and bad because I do get a Tamer, but his Starmon lives. And then he goes ahead and goes into the X7. So this is why it was a good thing that I didn't block with the Vidramon, because if I would have, he would have just deleted it with the X7 and then just swung over the other one. So at least now I have a body that I can keep on the board for my next plays. And he only has 6 sources, so it is going to be cost of 2, but he's at 3, so he goes down to 1. And he gets a free deletion. And he's got a really good stack underneath there. He's got a Reboot, Piercing, Blocker, reduce the security by, I believe it's 2k. And he has check +1 because of the shout. He opts to try to delete my Vidramon, but he does have evade, so I have to evade with him by suspending him. But at least he can only swing over 1. And he decides to swing over the level 5, of course, because that's the more threatening Digimon. He's already a level 5, and he has really good inheritables underneath him. And he does have piercing, like I said, so he just checks the last security, which is nothing big, just a Madoki. Then drops the Green Tamer to drop his Ballistamon to have 2 blockers on the field. Back to my turn. If I can get an Ulforce, I can at least attempt to clear. I can actually clear the. No, I wouldn't be able to clear the whole board, but I'd be able to clear at least 2 of them. The bigger stack, and then the Starmons with the Tamer. And this time it's funny because I have 8 cards, and he doesn't. So I only get 1 memory from the Matt and Sora. No rookies, but I do tap the Tide, drawing a rookie, going into raising with a rookie, but I don't end up getting the Ulforce off of the Aero Vidramon Digivolution, and I just end up scooping. And we go on to game 2. So game 2, I choose that he goes first because I do need that extra draw power, or that extra draw. I didn't like how last game went, didn't get a Ulforce, so hopefully this time it helps me out with that extra card. On his side, he hatches the Pikmon, goes into Starmons, drops a Zandro to drop a Ballista, giving me 2 memory because he does tap the Zandro whenever he drops a Digimon to reduce it to get him back in memory. Back at my side, I do end up getting the whole stack, so I go into a Vmon, Vidramon, and then an Aero Vidramon, passing him to 3. He swings with the Starmons, drawing him a card from Pikmon. It goes down to the 1k Vmon, and he saves it on the Zandro, and then hits a Vidramon with the Ballista, which also saves on the Zandro. So at least both of his Digimon ended up dying. So at least he doesn't get any more free checks next turn with those 2. Then he drops a Taiki, and he kind of a bad search because he ends up bottom decking an Omni Shot and a Zeeg, but he does end up getting that 1 Zeeg and putting him under the Taiki to grab the X5. And unfortunately, he doesn't have a follow-up play, so he does pass over to 3. I swing with the jamming Vmon, Aero Vidramon, but I hit a Tri-Tamer, which is terrible because now he gets an extra free memory at the beginning of his turn if he decides to put a card underneath there. But this time, at least I get to see the Ulforce. And I go into him for 4 on Digivolution. Go ahead and drop the Arena to give him block or evade. I do gain back memory from the inheritables and the Arena, so go back up to 2. I end up swinging again. I don't have more than 8 cards in hand, or 8 or more, so I don't get extra checks. But I do get the Arena tap, which lets me drop a Jerry with his Wind Digivolving skill, drop a Leomon, which is even worse because now I don't have. I'm definitely not gonna get those extra checks from the Vidramon or the Aero inheritable. And then I choke him to 1 just by playing the Madoki. Back to him, he just hatches the Pikmon and then puts something underneath the Tri-Tamer to get a memory and draw. Does not have anything after that, so drops the Ikari, but no Darulamon. Back to me, I don't end up drawing a Tamer, so I can't do any kind of Arena plays, which is terrible. So I just go into the Leomon. And this is bad because I don't have protection under my Ulforce, and this is why it's bad, because he drops an X7 turn 3 and just deletes my Ulforce because there's no way for it to evade without the Arena on play. So now I'm stuck with 2 Leomons, and he's going to choke me to 1 because he's going to tap the Zanjiro. And the stack only, he Digivolves it for 4, I believe, or was it? Yeah, I believe it was 4, because he only has 5 sources. But he does have the more important ones, which is blocker, reboot, piercing, and check +1. So he's in a really good spot. I'm not in a terrible spot myself, but I do have 2 Leomons, but I don't hit a rookie on my draw, which is not good. So I have him forced to play the Davis so I can get at least a search. And I end up searching a Vmon. Back to him, he puts another card underneath. The Tri-Tamer draws a card, and then Digivolves a Sparrowmon underneath that just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know if you saw that. And then I don't choose to block because there will be no point. He has piercing, so it would still be 2 checks, and I just gain 2 memory and draw. So it's not worth it in my eyes because I need those Leomons there for another time. I do tap the Jerry to draw a card at least. And then he goes ahead and taps the Taiki so he can drop the X3. And then you guys saw that, right? He's cheating. He takes it out from underneath the table. I'm just playing. He dropped it. But he goes into the X3, and then it's only for 2, but he's basically for 1 because it's the Zanjiro. He gets to search the top 3 and gets 2 cards. Gets the Starmon and the Zanjiro because there's no reason for him to get the Tri-Tamer anymore because he already has one on the board unless he wants to get more memory, but it wouldn't be worth it dropping it for 4 when there's one already on the field. Anyways, he swings with the X3 and he does have piercing, so again, choose not to block. There'll be no point. Swings into a Leomon, so he lives. Plays a Zanjiro and he plays a Ballista, which gets to tap the Zanjiro to bring him back down to 0. And then he Samani Santis his Ballistamon to tap my Rina, which he later actually realizes that it probably wasn't the best play because there's no point. I don't have an Ulforce or anything close to an Ulforce right now. And even if I did go into it, I'd pass turn, so I wouldn't be able to utilize the Rina. So I Digivolve into the Vmon in Raising. And Digivolve into an Arrow Vidramon. Tap the Arrow to search the top 3. I do get +2 with a Jerry and a Rina, which is good. But there's no way for me to not pass turn when I go into the Ulforce if I was to Digivolve now. So I end up swinging over the Ballista to get me a draw and 2 memory. That way, at least if I go into the Ulforce, I can go ahead and keep my turn. So I go ahead and Digivolve into the Ulforce, and I have to drop Arena here so I can get 2 memory back. Otherwise, I pass him over to 1. And I do get to bounce the X7, which he loses all his sources. But with the amount of draws that he's had already, I'm pretty sure he was able to replenish his hand. So now my Ulforce has blocker evade. I swing over the X3, he saves 2 sources, and I get to play a Jerry by tapping a Rina. And the Jerry plays me out in a Leomon. So I guess I was wrong. The Samadhi Santi did kind of do something because I could have just swung again with the Rina and played this tie. But instead, I choose not to swing into the security because of if I was to swing into an X7, that would be it for me. So I just dropped the tie and get ready for his onslaught. So he swings with the Sparrow. He's 5k, which is gonna be over the Leomon. I get to draw 2 from the Jerry's and then gain 2, draw 1. But with the X7 that I brought back to his hand, it's not good. But he doesn't play it. He plays the X5, and it is for free because he has all sources. It's not bigger than my Ulforce, but nevertheless, it's going to swing for a game. And you know what that means. He probably has a follow-up play for game, of course, because he wouldn't swing for no reason. So I block it because I have no choice. Puts the 3 underneath, and he still has 3 memory. So even if he didn't have the X7 or all the pieces, if he at least was missing just 1, he would be able to go for game here, which I'm thinking he does have just 6. No, actually he doesn't. He gives me 3 memory here because he ends up deleting my Ulforce. So he gives me one more chance to make another play. So he goes ahead and gives me 3 by passing over, dropping it for 6. Deletes my Ulforce. I restand everything. And all I have is a baby Vmon in the back. This is the one that warps, but even if I was to warp, I'd pass turn, which would really it wouldn't make a difference. And I just play a memory boost because I don't have a level 4, which there goes 3 of them. But by this time, it's way too late. I really can't do anything here. Even if I did give up, I just passed turn. I have no blockers. So I do this out of desperation and just guide his breath back to X7. He does lose all the sources. And I think he puts the X7 back in trash, which it should have been 2 hand. But I mean, at this point, he has 7 memory. He literally just needs to find 1 X4, X3, X5, whatever he can find. But he doesn't have it, so he drops a Taiki in order to search for one. And he does end up hitting the X3, which is fantastic for him. He puts the other X3 inside, underneath the Taiki, grabs the other one, and then goes ahead and cross threes for 1. Taps his Xros, just to troll me, and the Kari. And it swings in for game. But you guys saw that, right? He didn't tap a Taiki. So he did an illegal play, which I should have called a judge. But he is the judge, so... Anyways, that's going to be it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to hit that notification bell just so you know when my next video goes live. See you guys around.